Call to order, meeting of December 5th, 2024 at 7:30. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Greathouse, Councilor Steer,
Here.
Councilor Burlingame,
Here.
Councilor Arnold,
Here.
Councilor Wood.
Here. I'd ask that Troop 44 bring us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Acknowledge Troop 44 here as part of their getting a badge, right? Is that what you guys have to do? You got to come to a town council meeting and see how local government is created. Well, welcome.
Welcome, I'm glad to have you.
One day you can be doing this. All right, open forum for agenda items. Anybody wishing to speak on an agenda item for tonight, please step to the microphone.
I have one, but unfortunately I can't read the writing. Someone signed up to speak on an agenda item? Oh, that was me.
It says Jimmy Loach.
Want to speak? This time? Yeah, I'm just gonna see where it's kind of going before I do.
Yeah, you'll have the opportunity to speak during the agenda item too, if you'd like.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, public hearing, discussion and action. A, hearing opened on August 15, 2024, continued November 7th. Meeting canceled, continued December 5th, 2024. Butters were notified. Expansion of lot site at existing mobile home park. Applicant RLM the Second LLC, DBA The Village on Chopmas Hill. Location 102 Victory Highway, aka Assessor's Plat 14, Lot 92. Requesting the following: expansion of the number of lots from 87 sites to 100 sites. This public hearing was advertised in the Valley Breeze July 25th, 2024. Public hearing was opened on August 15, 2024. I guess at this point, if you guys would like to get up and do an overview.
Good evening, Mr. President, council members, Madam Clerk, and Solicitor Igliozzi. For the record, my name is Timothy Kane. I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Rhode Island. I have an office at 627 Putnam Pike down the street in Greenville. And I do represent RLM2 LLC with regard to the expansion before you tonight. As you may be aware, we are presently, or my client is presently licensed for 87 units at the mobile home community known as Village at Chopmas Hill, and we're asking the council to expand by 13 units for a total of 100. You are the permitting authority or the licensing authority, and the planning board is the advisory board to you. And in your packet, you do have a positive recommendation from the planning board with 4 recommendations or 4 stipulations they were looking for, which we'll address in a couple minutes. Just to give you a little background, and if you have any questions regarding the statistics, you can ask Kevin Kitson. I'm sure he can answer any questions. But my clients purchased this property about 21 years ago, or 21 and a half, in March 2003. And at that time, I would respectfully suggest that the village left much to be desired. There were cesspools, overflowing sewage, poor well water, poor well pressure. Park had a disproportionate number of school-age children, and with very little offset of revenue for the town to support that. I believe there was 127 school-age children in 2003, and right now there's approximately 22 school-age children, which I would respect is more of a balance for a park that size. Back in the day, they averaged 627 calls to first responders to the police department per year, and right now they're averaging 25 calls to the police department per year. They have purchased at least 20 dilapidated units and replaced those with new mobile home units. Over $2 million has been spent since they acquired it, improving the well system, and the septic system and other infrastructure improvements. And a lot of it has been through grants. They've been very aggressive in pursuing grants, and thankfully the state has been amenable to working with them on those grants. I believe the tax revenue is way up. I remember when I was working for this town, we passed enabling legislation that you couldn't pull a demo permit until the taxes were paid in full. I believe that's worked over time. And they also put in the lease that part of your lease obligations are to pay your town taxes on your homes, and if you don't, you can be evicted. So my understanding, and talking to Kevin, and I know Kevin's worked with the tax collector department for years, it's a much better situation than it was. It's the village at Chalmers Hill is now served by a state-of-the-art sand filter system, and the goal is to get all units on that sand filter system, and a majority are on there right now. We have several Rhode Island Department of Health approved public wells that provide necessary quantity and quality of water, and we have recent improvements that have been made to those also that we can expound upon. So you have a recommendation from the Japatcha Fire District for 2 cisterns. Of course, my client is perfectly amenable to doing that, and we would imagine that you can make that a condition of your approval. We had 4 comments from the planning board. Christine, can you put that plan up, please?
Which one do you want, the August one or?
The new one. And I will highlight the difference between the ones that were initially submitted, or the plan that was in and the one we gave to you recently. And that was a result of some comments that we received from the planning board. All right, so, and yeah, I think you'll have those in your packets. So the planning board wanted us to show something with regard to drainage. And you can see over on the left-hand side of the plan, you can see those 2 boxes, all right? And those are the typical site of 10,000 square feet. They wanted to make sure all the new proposed sites were 10,000 square feet, which they are. And they wanted to make sure that we could fit mobile homes on those 10,000 square foot sites and still meet the setbacks in your mobile home ordinance. And we do. Those which are stamped by an engineer, those sites meet the setbacks. And you can see in the front of those sites, we're proposing drainage infrastructure to take the drainage from the mobile home and the parking area and keep it all on site. And that's what the state wants you to do right now. They want you to control all the drainage on site. We could move, given elevations and whatnot, we could move those dry wells to the back too, the back of the properties. But the idea is to keep all drainage on site and preferably put them in the front. But if logistics require that they be put in the back based on grading and things, they certainly can be moved to the back. So again, they wanted to see something on drainage, and that's showing you how drainage will be handled on these new lots. The planning board wanted on number 2 to prove that the new units will meet lot sizes and setback requirements, and I believe that it's shown all new lots are 10,000 square feet. And we have shown you on the narrow lots, for lack of a better term, that we can meet the setbacks as set forth in the ordinance. The planning board wanted something on lighting, and you have in your packet a proposal from Dante Electric, who I believe is local. And you have a sample of, I think, a nice solar lighting that my clients would like to put in there in your packet. And we are proposing putting 11 of these lights in there. And the opinion of Dante Electric is that the lighting installed on these poles will provide sufficient coverage for the safety and security of the tenants. We don't want to light it up like Times Square. So I would hope that you find this does the trick. I think it's going to be a big improvement up there without the place glowing at night. An up-to-date license, I think our licenses are up to date. Anything the town clerk requires with regard to licensing will supply. And you wanted, the planning board recommended 3 low to moderate income units. And we are providing those, and we would expect that would be a condition of approval, and we're going to do it because that's what my client said they're going to do. And we are also continuing dialogue with the town planner about possibly making some of the additional 13 units affordable. Number crunching goes into that, and we had a long telephone conference today, and so there may be an opportunity going forward to make additional unit or So we believe that 13 extra units would add to the housing stock on a very well-managed site, and that has the infrastructure to accommodate an additional 13 units. And we believe these units will serve a need in Northern Rhode Island, and especially the town of Gloucester. There are people that are downsizing. We don't call it a mobile home park anymore, we call it a mobile home community. They've done a nice job cleaning that up. There's lots of nice units in there and good people, and I think it's a win-win for the town. It gives you some more remedy. We're picking up some more affordables, and it's an affordable place for folks to live. So, Kevin Kissin is here from Kitson Property Management. Rick Mefford is here from RLM2. They can answer any questions that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kevin, we have 3 issues with regard, the first one being a power outage, and I understand there are some additional generators in the works. Could you update the council on that?
Sure. Kevin Kitson, 673 Putnam Pike, Chepachet. I managed the mobile home park for the past 20-plus years. And yeah, the generators that we're going to be putting in, they're not in yet. We're waiting for state approval as far as the size. That's something that I've been working with the water operator to make sure there's sufficient size to run the pumps. We have 2 variable speed pumps that are running water for the park itself. In addition to that, we need to supply the water to the 10,000 gallon tank. So we have to make sure it matches and it's approved by the state of Rhode Island. That'll be put in. So I spoke to him again a couple of days ago. He's waiting for the approvals from the state, and then 6 weeks after that, they'll be installed. And that'll provide water to the tenants in the event we have a power outage.
Do you have any questions on that?
Is there any concern that you won't get that state approvals won't be granted?
No, that was part of the whole project, to make sure that that was part of the equation that we were doing to upgrade the system, to make sure that the tenants would have water. They've never had water if the power went out in the past, but this was an additive thing to make sure that the tenants would have water in the event the power did go out. In addition to that, we also have to make sure that the septic system has power, because the water goes in, it goes out, and we need power to run the pumps for that also. So that's all part of the
That's
equation.
great. That's one of the residents' primary concerns.
And
that we're
justifiably.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yep.
Mr. King, do you have a problem making a condition, that be a condition before the new units can be installed?
That the
Or
generators?
Is that a problem?
No problem at all.
Okay. Just because it's a resident concern,
Right.
I think you should want that power generators before, unless it's gonna be a financial burden.
It's part of the equation.
And I can read you into the record an email we got from Lafron Boys Well, I believe, Rick? Because we were concerned about this, and we asked him to put something in writing today. So he stated, the generators have yet to be ordered due to RIDPH and RIB, Rhode Island Construction Bank. Hold up and delay with the change order requested for the Chapman's project. It has been on their desk for months now. I was told today that we should be seeing the approval shortly. Once they are ordered, I can update everyone on the timeline update. The project is about 90% completed, with only minor details and the final startup left to be completed, other than the generators. That will be the last thing to close out the project, so it is imminent.
Okay.
Any more questions on the generators? Number 2 is water pressure.
So the water pressure in the park has been a concern in the past. We've addressed that with the water operator. We have 2 variable speed pumps that have been producing around 60 pounds of pressure throughout the park. It varies depending upon where the mobile homes are located in the park. At the top end of the park, obviously it's a little less, so we have boosted up to 70 pounds. We can actually increase it by a little bit more if needed. We don't want to have too much stress on the system itself. But I actually went up and spoke with some of the tenants at the top end of the park to make sure they were getting ample supply, and we certainly checked that, and they seemed to be, you know, fine with that. Pressure was much better when we pumped it to 70 pounds. So
What was it prior to when they expressed?
right around
it?
60, but it varies depending upon the location in the park, because you know, the infrastructure from years ago, when it takes the turns here and there, it does slow it down a little bit. But for the most part, and there's some tenants that don't get really, really good pressure because of the nature of their home. Some of the inlets on the older ones have smaller pipes that go in, so that does cut it down. That's true. Rick just reminded me, if we do have a severe problem at any particular site, we have addressed it. Sometimes it could even be some sediment that's in the line, and we send the crew over to actually clean the pipe out and produce some better water pressure for those folks. When it's brought to my attention, we handle it accordingly.
I don't want to pop a lot of things on you, but I do have one more letter that did make your packet. It's from the well company, and it addresses this issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It does go back to August because this was an issue with the planning board also.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will read it into the record if that's okay. So this was addressed to the planning board. It was dated August 22nd, 2024, regarding expansion of village at Chalmers Hill, Glocester, Rhode Island. Dear Sir, Madam, the public water supply serving the village at Chalmers Hill, the park is currently operating 2 wells to supply water to the park via 2 variable speed drive submersible pumps. Pressure is maintained at 60 psi. All controls and filter equipment are currently operating within the specified parameters and operating at sufficient volume and pressure. Current water sample results are within guidelines of the state of Rhode Island. We have completed 2 new wells and are currently in the process of replacing all components of the pump house, with work to be completed at the end of 2024. The new wells have drastically increased well yield, nearly doubling capacity. A new 10,000-gallon atmospheric tank has been installed. The overall water quality of the water has changed and improved with the new wells. The water system now has the capacity to pump approximately 60 gallons per minute of water into the holding tank when water is being called for. Should you have any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Eric Lafrembourg. So I think you can see a continuum of them investing in the park and improving conditions. It's not perfect, nothing is. There's always room for improvement, but you can certainly see a track record here of spending some money, making things better. And the last one, do you have any questions on well pressure?
So obviously it's hard water. If you mentioned sediment, are we trying to filter it or a softener or any of that part of the?
We do have filters in place for the water itself. However, the new wells that were just drilled were virtually sediment free from what I've been told, and from the tenants themselves. There has been some instances when we've changed the filters where some of the sediment from the old wells, it's a black sediment, and it sometimes creeps in there because it's sitting in the actual lines where the filter is. But when we change the filters, that it takes a little bit of a time, maybe a day or so, for it to clear up. And it's not everybody gets the sediment in there, but the sediment has basically been dissipated, especially with these new wells. They're awesome. They produce a lot of water, and it's clean, which is great.
Thanks.
Okay.
And there was one more comment, Mr. Kitson, regarding a sewage issue between the house at number 37 and 39 on Parkview Drive. Can you address that?
So I met with some officials from DEM because this was an anonymous letter went to them in reference to a septic issue at that location. That area of Parkview is a high water table, and sometimes in the spring the water table doesn't allow the drainage to flow the way it should. So we were going to put a new tank in. When we went to put the new tank in, we dug down about 2 feet, and the water table was right there. So we had to cease at that point and wait so we could, put the new tank in. We do have the approvals for that, so a new tank will be going into that location, and the violations were unfounded. I met with on 2 different occasions, and unfortunately, no one signed it, so I couldn't address it personally to people.
If you have any more questions of Mr. Kitson or Mr. Mefford?
I guess my last question is, on that is, you said you're planning on putting a new tank in. Do you have something together for that?
So David O'Keefe has been extremely busy on a project that he's doing. He does our installs of the new tanks.
Mhm.
We also had another gentleman who was involved who recently passed away in Burrville that was part of the team. So we're kind of like backdoor right now. But we plan on doing that sooner than later. There's no problem with the septic system at that location. It is functioning. It's just when the water table gets so high that it dissipates on a slower than it should. We do have it pumped out at the time to try and dissipate the problem, but we would have rather put the tank in sooner than later. We just couldn't get it done in time. But the new tank will be on the new system also. That particular one is on the old system.
And you anticipate doing that like within the next 12 months, or?
I'd like to get it done within the next 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Or less than that. It's just a matter of getting David over there to do it. He's been scrambling to help out the other family.
Thanks.
Mr. President, so just again, Mr. Kane, is this another situation where you can agree and your client can agree that it would be a condition before the new units are installed, or?
That would be fine.
Yes, that's.
As long as it,
Yeah.
as long as it's
Yeah, understood, we understand. And just to let you know, that the only difference between the plan that we originally filed and this one is, this one shows the detail. Up in the left-hand corner, the two boxes of how the lots meet the 10,000 square feet and meet the setbacks. And we showed the wells on this plan. All the wells weren't shown on the prior plan, but that's the real only difference. So that concludes our presentation. I'm sure you're gonna open it up to the public, and we'd like to obviously reserve the opportunity to respond to any issues that people may have.
Does anybody have anything to ask? Yep.
Good evening, my name is Susan McConney. I'm at 72 Diamond Hill Road in the mobile home unit park. And I had contacted a realtor. She showed me the mobile home. And I looked at it, and I've been in the neighborhood. And my biggest concern, I had asked her, was the big lot in the front of me. I said, you know, is there any plans to build in front of me? Because we're all squeezed in. And she said to me, I'll ask the realtor. And she did. She said, no, there seems to be no plans to build there. It's pretty much a common area. You know, we walk our dogs, and, you know, if you have grandkids, because nobody's got backyards, you can kind of play there. I did have a meeting with Kevin, and I said, my biggest concern is, are you going to build in these common areas? We have no plans to do that. I mean, that I would have not purchased my home had I known we were going to be boxed in. Now, I closed on April 5th. The day before, I had a meeting, and I asked my question. No, we have no plans. Then they came to you guys in June. So that's April, May, June. I feel I bought my home in bad faith. And I'm upset. I mean, that's our sky. I've talked to the neighbors, and they said, yeah, we moved in, and they said it's a common area. They're not gonna, you know, squish us in. We have people in front and back and side. And it's a country town. It's a beautiful, you know, I understand they've done a lot of work. We were the ones that bought these new homes, you know, thinking, okay, you got a nice area in front of different sections, and now I find out. So I just want you to know, I just felt like I bought in bad faith. and I'm upset, and probably have to relocate, because you just don't want to be squeezed in. That's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've had multiple conversations with Suzette. Not once do I remember having a conversation in reference to the land across the street. So you can take that as it is. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So I had a few questions. So, first of all, these lots that we're proposing to add, are they typical size of the rest of the community, or are they smaller, but they fit?
Rick Mefford, Arlen. They are typically 50 feet by whatever to make the 10,000 square feet. And that's what we wanted to achieve when we came up to this request for 13 units.
So 50 feet wide, 100 feet deep, or whatever that.
Whatever it takes.
200, yeah.
Yeah, 200
yeah.
feet. Exactly.
That wasn't a trick question. So, all right. Because that's one of the things I'm concerned about is, yeah, you're fitting, but it fits the setbacks. Planning board says
It fits the setbacks,
so.
and we can adjust that by putting in a single wide or a double wide, but we have sufficient rooms for double wides on all the lots. So that's, I'm not sure that's what we're gonna do yet. We still have to go through DEM, and we won't get through DEM until probably June of next year.
I heard they were all double wide. They weren't putting any more single wide.
I can't address that because I've never said to anybody what they're gonna be.
There's one single
You'd,
wide.
you'd have to come up here, so you can't go back and forth. Thank you.
There is one single wide that been brought in a few years ago, and it's kind of been bounced. And now I hear it's up for sale, but it's been sitting there a couple of years now, because they're only gonna be putting double wides in. So, with double wides and small lots,
Thank you.
So, I had a couple other questions too. So, I don't know who to address it to, but one of my concerns was, you know, with the planning board, they asked for at least 3 units, deed restricted. I was hoping for more. You know, not because the town wants that, which we do, but the state mandates that we need to get to 10%. And if we're looking at a development, for lack of a better term, of this size, this many units, I was hoping to see, you know, that's maybe like a little over 20%, which, you know, that doesn't really get us anywhere. I was hoping to see maybe 5 or 6. Is that something that you might be amenable to in going forward?
I had a discussion with Karen Scott today, and, you know, I had talked to her about 6 weeks ago, and she didn't get back to me. But she got back to me today, and I said, look, I don't have enough time to determine whether or not we can do that. I said, there's lots of things that we have to look at. We have to look at the deed restrictions, we have to look at, you know, what prices we can sell it at, we have to look what the affordable housing, Milana, says we can do. I just said I'll be happy to work with you. I understand the affordable issue in the towns, and I'd be happy to work with you, but I said we can't do anything tonight.
Well, then maybe we can't make a decision tonight, I don't know. That's something that we'd have to put in our decision, how many different low mod units could be in there. So, I mean, me personally, I'm not speaking for the rest of the council, I'd like to see 5 or 6, especially since, you know.
Do you, excuse me,
Go ahead, yeah.
do you understand what happens when they go affordable?
Yeah, the deed restricted.
Well, they're deed restricted, but they're also open up their entire financial, situation. And I don't mean to be,
No.
this is Trump country, and the people don't wanna do that.
Well,
They
here's the
do
thing.
not want, they do not want to open up their finances.
We don't wanna do that either, but the state's mandating that we do.
I know, I understand that.
That's not our argument. you
But
know.
it's
We're
very
trying to
difficult
adhere
to
to
sell
state
that.
rules. Yeah,
We
I
have
understand.
done, how many have we done, Kevin? We've done probably 5, and we worked with the Greater Western Home Repair. We've been proactive in trying to get things done. I will work with Karen only if I have approval. And,
Well, I mean, that puts us in a spot, doesn't it?
well, you put me in a spot. I mean,
I didn't put anybody in a spot.
we agreed to 3 units with,
To who?
and I,
With who?
with the planning board.
They're an advisory board, so they gave us an opinion. We make the final decision on that. I think personally, and I might get outvoted, right, but me personally, I think 5 or 6 would be more appropriate for this. And I understand your situation, but the state has put us both in a situation where,
Let me address that.
the other thing is, I've looked at other developments in town, and they had the same argument. Well, you know, we have all these things that we need to do with affordable housing, and guess what? They sold them.
They what?
They sold them.
I just want to address the 10%, because it's an issue I'm getting passionate about. So, you're not close to it, most cities and towns aren't. And the remedy for, if you don't have 10%, it allows folks to file a comprehensive permit. You've never seen one up here as far as I'm concerned. There was one cooking around the corner, but hasn't raised its ugly head yet, let's put it that way. So Glocester does not bear the brunt of it. It's the towns like Johnston and Smithfield and Lincoln that are getting killed. All right, we're looking at 200 units, 250, you know, semi-suburban, a little bit of rural towns. It's changing the whole character of it. So, with all due respect, if the state says 10%, but you've never felt the impact of it, it's a mandate, but it doesn't mean a lot in Gloucester. I hate to say it, it's a cavalier attitude. You're gonna be exposed until that law changes, all right, where they can't override local zoning. You're gonna be exposed to a comp permit for the next 30 years, at least, if you ever reach the 10%. You won't. You don't have water and sewer.
There's no way it's
up
gonna
here.
happen, right?
So I understand the 10%, and and it's a state mandate, but it doesn't
But we
carry.
also have to show that we're making a
Yeah.
good effort towards that.
But even if you show that you're making a good effort and you don't meet the 10%, you're subject to a comprehensive permit,
Absolutely.
you know? And so I just wanna put it in that perspective a little bit. With 3, you're not losing any ground and you're picking up a little. And I just wanna put it, and it is an extremely cumbersome process.
But
All right,
again, I understand.
And bureaucratic, you gotta turn everything over, and then it's deed restricted, and people buy them, and they, you know, you can make some money on them, but, you know, it's hard to sell them and enjoy what everybody else is in this economy, is equity in your home. So there's 2 ways to look at it, and I just wanna, you know,
Okay,
give
I
you a different
understand.
perspective on it. And I understand your concerns completely, and I haven't been before a planning board or a town council in years that doesn't look for more affordable, so I get that too.
Well, and there's a need for it too.
There is,
There is
yeah,
a need.
yeah.
All housing.
And,
There's a need
and
for all.
even without, and the problem with, to be counted as affordable, you need a municipal subsidy, right, and you need an affordability restriction. But I would argue, putting those 2 things away, these 13 units are gonna be affordable in the sense that people can afford them.
Well, we've argued that many
Yeah.
times at the
Yeah.
state, and they said no. And
Yeah.
You know, you understand.
But where's the blowback been? There hasn't been.
Yeah.
And a lot of hot air, especially when it comes to rural communities.
Yeah. So, you know, you talk about subsidies, right? So if we have the Western Rhode Island Home Repair, you know, we subsidize other units in the past. If there were an opportunity to possibly subsidize some of, if there were more units, if there was a way possibly we could subsidize some of those, would that be something that,
I spent a half hour on the phone with Karen and Rick today, and I had to run and they talked some more, so, we're gonna sharpen our pencils, and my clients aren't, opposed to, giving more affordable, but at this moment in time, I don't think we can. But if you have more questions, let's go through those, I'll talk to them for a minute, maybe we can.
okay.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting.
No,
But
you're fine.
Mr. Kane, again, I'm just trying to tie down these clarifications. The young lady was mentioning about the wide and the double wide on lots, Kitson or
Mr. Method.
Mr. Method indicated that, is that being driven by what DEM will approve? In other words, is your goal, just so it's clear for the record, is your goal to put double wide, I'm sorry, is your goal, and it's fine if it is, I'm not making it to be negative. Is your goal to put double wide if they're allowed on every lot? Okay, but that's what because there was a question about that. And it's fine if it is, I'm not saying it to be negative, I just want the public to know, is it being driven by DEM requirements, or is it being driven by your discretion? Whether it's double wide or
It's
single wide?
both.
Okay.
It's both. I mean, we can adjust on the rooms and that by putting in single wides versus double wides.
I guess my question is, could you, if you wanted to, put double wides on every one of these lots, these new lots?
Yeah, because they're all 50 feet
Okay.
wide, or
So
55 feet wide.
So it's really, so the only thing that's gonna change that is two things, right? Your decision and or DEM's limitation? I'm trying to understand,
Well, I
why
don't
would
know
you
if it's.
choose not to put a double wide on if you could? That's my question.
Say again?
Why would you not put a double wide on every single one if you could?
Because I've got an obligation to put on some affordable units, and if I put on the double wide, I'm not gonna make it affordable to
Okay.
the
Is
people.
that the only thing that's gonna limit the double wide or the single wide?
No,
I'm
I've
just trying
I've
to answer
always,
this young
I've
lady's
always
question.
planned to put single wides, some single wides in there, and I think on an affordable basis, that makes more sense than putting double wides on. So if I've got 3 affordables that I have to put in, they're probably gonna be single wides.
I was just trying to understand, the distinction and the decision points of single versus double, because it was brought up by a member of the public, that's all.
No, and it's a valid reason, but I don't know where the thing came that I'm gonna put in, or the RLM2 is gonna put in only double wides. That's another one of the rumors, you know?
I was just trying to clarify.
Yep,
I
that's
wasn't- I
fine.
wasn't contesting your approach.
And to address your question, Walter, I have no problem working with getting the affordable housing for the town. But having been approached this afternoon and told that, you know, Karen wanted to do this, I said, Karen, I can't make a decision. I mean, in good faith, I'll give you one more unit.
And all due defense to Karen, I think there was some miscommunication. I think Rick was thinking, if we go over 100, right, we can, because our septic is designed for 105, all right, we could give you 5 more affordables.
That's correct.
But that means we're gonna start crunching things in. And I think that's when Karen first approached Rick, I think that's what Rick was thinking. Right, Rick? You were going over 100, so I think there was some miscommunication. I'm not so sure it was Karen not getting back to Rick in 6 weeks. I think they were on 2 different pages until we got on the phone today and talking, you know, the same language, so.
So that was gonna be one of my questions too, as far as the septic. How many units can that reasonably hold? So it's not gonna be right at the limit if you did 100, right?
No,
Up to, that's why he's getting up to 100.
we have the capacity of 105 units. And when we go in to do this, we're gonna have to put in a nitrate system. And a nitrate system's gonna cost us approximately $600,000. So, I think that's pretty good faith on what we'd like to do. And I can tell to you right now that I'll give you another unit as far as the affordable is concerned, and I will work with Karen to see if we can do any more.
Okay, I appreciate the offer.
So I don't have any more questions. I certainly appreciate, we've all been up here trying to show the state good faith as to getting their goal, getting us to the number. I think I just heard you say you would say yes to a 4.
Correct.
Okay? I mean,
For me,
That's
for,
30% of.
for me, it's hard. I mean, one unit just takes it from 23% to 30%, and that's exactly what I was, you know. And it's interesting when we look, you know, I spend a lot of time with, we all do, trying to figure out how, you know, all these new zoning rules and this kind of thing, and I forget, you know, it's a very small number of new builds or new units that, you know, our percentages far exceed 10 or have been the last handful of years. And Karen, I think I'm in the boat, you know, we have exceeded 10, and, you know, again, it's one more unit. I also appreciate the fact of, you know, I think that you've addressed a lot of the residents' concerns, and after I've looked through the whole packet, the residents' concerns, frankly, the residents' concerns were my concerns, you know, as they should be, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think 30% of the new build as affordable is a, you know, I know it's a drop in the bucket, but I think that's good faith, and that's, you know, it's 3 times the amount that we're required by the state, and like Mr. Kane said, you know, will we ever get to 10 here, you know, without infrastructure and sewer? I don't think so. You know, I'm not as up on the law, though, as far as the mandate you were talking about for.
Law needs to be changed. So, I mean, just to cut right to it, I'm comfortable, especially with the additional things such as, you know, the new generators being part of the stipulations of approval and this kind of thing. I will say, for me personally, and I respect, you know, obviously the business part of this too. I'm comfortable with 4 units because that's a 30% low income in the project. So that's where I am personally. I'm comfortable with 4.
I am also. And, you know, the tank going in also, we was talking about the septic tank for that 1 unit as part of the condition before it gets underway.
I appreciate the 4. I hope we can get the 5 somewhere along the way.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna read into the minutes the opinion by the planning board. Their September 3rd, 2024 meeting, the following motion was made by the planning board, Mike Fournier. After careful consideration and discussion at the September 3rd, 2024 planning board meeting, the Glocester Planning Board hereby recommends the town council approve the request of the Village of Chopmas Hill for applicant RLM II LLC located off Chopmas Hill Road, AP 14 lot 92, to add 13 additional mobile homes to the existing park. In making this decision, the board has considered the following. Number 1, mobile home park license expansion, application and supporting materials. Number 2, the technical review committee report dated July 23rd, 2024. 3, testimony from the applicant at the planning board meeting. In making this decision, the board makes the following findings. Number 1, the applicant has satisfactorily addressed the requirements as outlined in the Code of Ordinances, Section 208. Therefore, the board makes the following conclusions. Number 1, based on the evidence outlined above, which is part of the record, this application to expand the village on Chopmas Hill satisfies the requirements of Glocester Code of Ordinance, Section 208, mobile homes and house trailers with all conditions of approval. The following conditions are applied to this approval. Number 1, applicant supplies a drainage plan. Number 2, new units must meet the lot size and setbacks required outlined in the Code of Ordinance. 3, the applicant supplies a lighting plan. Number 4, applicant maintains an up-to-date license. 5, at least 3 of the new units are deed-restricted low and mid-moderate income housing units. Based on the findings above, I hereby make a motion to recommend approval of the expansion of the Village of Chopmas Hill for application RLM2 LLC for AP 14 lot 92 to the Gloucester Town Council. The motion was seconded by planning board member John Bart. Ayes, Bart, Caldera, Clifford, DeGrange, Fournier, Fooney, and Patako. The clerk has also received correspondence from the Chepachet Fire Chief to Gene Fecto. This letter is to inform you that I've had conversation with Park Manager Kevin Kitson about the proposed expansion of 13 more new homes on the property located at 102 Victory Highway, known as Village on Chopness Hill. With adding this many buildings, it is this office's recommendation that there be installed a minimum of 2 10,000-gallon cistern tanks, the location to be determined by this office and the owners of said park for the purpose of firefighting water. 1 tank should be installed by the time the third lot and home has been installed. The second tank should be installed within 2 years of the first tank and when the other lots have been established. It is also our recommendation in the office to some form of lighting be installed on the roadways throughout the park for safety and the residents of the park. Any further questions on this matter, I can be contacted at my office Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 2 p.m. Chief Dennis Eustace. And a memo. Clerk also checked back with the fire chief and there's no update to that correspondence. Council all received correspondence regarding to the expansion from occupants from the park, hearing August 15th, 2024. So, proposal application Village of Chapman's Hill. Dear Gloucester Town Council members, Mr. Worthy, Mr. Arnold, Mr. Burlingame, Mrs. Greathouse, and Mr. Steer, we the occupants of Chapman's Hill are concerned with the proposal of expansion of the number of mobile home sites currently being considered by the Gloucester Town Council. These questions have already been brought to the attention of the people and have been answered by council. Those have already been read in. Yeah, so at this point, I'm gonna declare the public hearing closed. And if we can get a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to grant the application for proposed expansion of lot sites at an existing mobile home community, applicant RLM2 LLC, DBA The Village on Chopness Hill, location 102 Victory Highway, as known as Assessor's Plat 14, Lot 92, requesting the expansion of the number of lot sites from 87 sites to 100 sites, contingent upon the applicant supplies a new drainage plan. New units must meet the lot size and setback requirements outlined in the Code of Ordinances. The applicant supplies a lighting plan. The applicant maintains an up-to-date license. At least 4 of the new units are deed restricted, low and moderate income housing units. The 2 new generators are installed within the next 12 months. And a new tank between 37 and 39 Park View is installed within the next 12 months.
Could add 2 more conditions. One is the installation of the 2 10,000 cistern tanks as per the fire chief's recommendation. And 2, that the municipal subsidy in this case would be these additional density bonus that allow these units. Because in order to qualify for the affordable units, to qualify at the state, we have to give some sort of bonus, either in cash or, in this case, a density bonus. So I would just acknowledge that they're getting a density bonus as our municipal subsidy, and that will qualify.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Well, I had something to ask before we move that. So, do we have to put somewhere in the motion where, as these buildings are going up, that they don't wait till the end to put all the affordable in, they have to go in as building goes along?
Not in this particular case, because those requirements that you're concerned with are specific to a comprehensive permit where they would get a tremendous amount of density bonus. This is they're agreeing to put in affordable housing for you where it's not pursuant to a comp permit, so that condition doesn't apply. This is essentially it's a voluntary municipal density bonus, and it's a voluntary affordable units. It's not pursuant to the comp permit.
Okay, so So can I get he did so move, so can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have to sustain. Accuse.
Three of them.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope we didn't bore the Cub Scouts to death over here.
The ayes have it, 3-0.
Is that exciting stuff, guys?
Congratulations, it's about time.
Thank you, folks. Happy holidays.
All right.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
It's not over, kid.
Wait, what are you doing? No, you get the whole badge.
That's just a hearing. We got more to go.
Yeah. That's only worth half a batch. Don't worry, I'll read real quick on the next one, all right, guys? All right. A, approval of town council minutes, regular meeting of November 21st, 2024. Can I get a motion?
Jeannie, why are we tabling those minutes and not approving them?
No, you're not approving them, they're not done.
Oh, they're not done. Okay. I'll make a motion to table the approval of the town council minutes of November 21st, 2024.
I get a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Unfinished business, boards and commissions, discussion, interaction. Appointments, discussion, interaction. A, zoning board, alternate number 2, 1 year to expire 12/31/24. The chair does not have a recommendation at this time. Council can table it to the next meeting. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to table the appointment to the zoning board, alternate number 2, to the December 19th meeting.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Parade committee, continued from 9/5/2024, alternate 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 2 candidates for appointment from the talent bank. Listing, the chair has agreed to Brenda Sadlier and Con Isper, if the council approves. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Brenda Sadlier to position number 4, parade committee.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to appoint Con Isper to position number 5, parade committee.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next?
I'll make a motion to table the alternate number 2, alternate number 3 to the parade committee to the December 19th, 2024 town council meeting.
Take a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
B, ARPA funds, de-obligation and obligations. Discussion and interaction. At the last meeting, there was a list of de-obligation obligations. One of them was tabled. The remaining obligation balance, unobligated balance is $15,893. Obligate $15,893 to a new project, police station improvements, and one was changed. The obligation, new project, police station improvements was adopted by a vote of council, but changed from recommendation amount from
Bless you.
$181,468 to $171,468 in the final motion. I guess what happens when we,
So I got a question. So don't we still need to put that money aside for
Yes.
San Souci?
Yes. Yeah. So I'll make a motion to obligate $15,893 from police station improvements.
You want the 10,000 that you took last week and the 15,000,
Yeah.
that would give you a 20.
Right. So,
you need to obligate both of them.
right. So make a motion to obligate $15,000 from police station improvements and to obligate $10,000 from a new project, police station improvements, to go to project number 31, San Souci Services.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, new business ratification by council, discussion or action, RI master lease agreement, payment terms. Chief, you wanna give us a, you good on this? The lease agreement between the DIS USA?
Yeah, Dale, that's we lease our fingerprint machine, which connected to the FBI and state police. The lease is up, instead of purchasing, we're gonna continue to lease, and that's what most police departments do.
What's
If
the
not,
cost
we
to
have-
purchase?
Excuse me?
Do you know what the cost is to purchase?
42.5, so it's kinda evens out. We'd have to get a service contract, on
Anyway.
top of it,
Yeah.
and, something catastrophic happens.
Okay.
That's the way we've been doing it for the last, for 20 years.
Service contracts, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to ratify the Rhode Island Master Lease Agreement between Tails DIS USA, Inc., the lessor, and the Gloucester Police Department, lessee, for the lease of a live scan fingerprint machine and equipment. Said lease is a 6-year lease, and funding shall be a monthly payment appropriated from the Police Department Contract Services line item at $600 per month.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Finance Department fiscal year 2024 appropriations. General fund transfer to reserve funds, discussion or action. Council received a memo from the Finance Director, Honorable Town Council from Elizabeth A. Beltram, Finance Director, fiscal 2024, fund balance reassignment, December 5, 2024. We're nearing the completion of the fiscal year 2024 audit. I'm pleased to report the town ended the year with a surplus. With that in mind, I'm recommending the following assignments. Extending existing technology fund, $40,000. New fund for potential legal expense, $40,000. The amounts listed are to be assigned from the fund balance. Remaining unassigned fund balance will remain within the required 12% level. I would ask approval to include these assignments as part of the comprehensive financial statements for the year ending June 30th, 2024, respectively, Elizabeth A. Beltram. Can I get a motion?
So the existing technology fund, do we know what that entails? Do you know?
I'm not sure exactly what that is.
I'm pretty sure that's all, everything that happened in this building.
I think Beth had said that a lot of it has to do with updates that Matt needed to have done.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to authorize assignment funds from the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 to existing technology fund, MC, $40,000, and new fund for potential legal expenses, $40,000.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Legislative updates, discussion and action. Anybody have any legislation news or questions?
Not at the moment.
Town council correspondence, anybody here?
Mr.
Yo.
President, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
The only correspondence I have, and I know we're working on it, but Renee Palazzo called me and let me know that with the trolley, the trust is not going to insure it because of lead on it, so they can't take it at this point, until we figure it, we have to figure something out, or
Yeah.
not take it at all.
Should I say that I have news on that too?
You could say that, I didn't know you were doing that.
So we have somebody that's possibly going to do the lead abatement for free, and we're looking at that route to make that sure that it would be safe to get to the school. So,
Bouncing back and forth.
bounce it back and forth. Hopefully a new update next time. Anybody else?
Dave?
Yeah, Mr. President, could you, I just had a consultant with the clerk. Is it possible to go and reconsider item B, ARPA funds? We need to correct those motions. If you could reconsider those items, and then perhaps Councilman Arnold could withdraw his motions, withdraw the seconds, and we can go back. I think they need to be corrected for the math to be correct.
I'll make a motion to reconsider item B, ARPA funds.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I'll make a motion to obligate from unobligated funds, $25,000 to project number 31. San Souci project, 25,800.
Be 25,893.
Now I'm confused, I'm sorry. The previous motions that you made on the ARPA, can we go
That,
back to those two motions and undo them?
What we did was we tabled putting money into the police fund last time, so that didn't make it there. It
Okay.
still remained unobligated. And then we went to make another obligation of $181,468, but instead we only obligate $171,468, so that was 10,000 unobligated. It was nowhere. So right now, we just took 15,893 from unobligated money, and we're putting it all into Project 31.
In addition to the 10,000 that we didn't obligate.
No, well,
25 total.
20, yes.
So, just so I'm for the record's clear, last meeting, we de-obligated $15,893.
And we changed the amount from a project of new police station improvements from 181 to 171.
But at that time, did we do anything with that $15,893?
We tabled it. We
We
did
tabled
not obligate it.
Okay, so for the
So
record,
it's unobligated money.
you want to obligate that $15,893 to Project 31?
Yes.
And the 10,000 that we,
But let's do one at a time.
But we already did that.
Did we do that? That's my question. Did we do that
No.
already?
no,
You just didn't give it all.
Oh,
You just, you didn't obligate the whole 181, you only obligated 171. So the other 10 was still in unobligated fund.
so why would we need two motions if we're taking 25,000 out of unobligated funds?
I just wasn't sure that they both made it there, that's all, Councilman. I wasn't
It-
sure that
It
both.
appeared the way it was said, that we were taking it out of police station improvements, and we weren't because it wasn't there yet.
so this is a one motion for $25,893 of unobligated funds to go to project number 31, San Souci.
Perfect. Can we get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Clean. All right.
Thank you for your patience.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. That's why you're here, to make sure we can.
Well, I have one thing for correspondence, just hats off to the Recreation Commission and everybody else who contributed to Thursday night candlelight shopping and the lighting of the Christmas tree at the pavilion. Great to see all kinds of people out in town tonight.
I'm sorry, during correspondence, I was talking. Did you agree that you would invite that gentleman to come and give a presentation? That's what was in your correspondence. Yes?
Well, I mean, we can't make a
What gentleman?
vote on it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you talked about your correspondence. There's a letter there from
Yeah,
that
there's a
energy
letter.
company who keeps asking if he can come and give a 15-minute presentation.
Beth didn't recommend that though, right?
No, she
wanted more
didn't.
information, so I
Yeah.
think until it gets by Beth, it doesn't come to us.
Right.
Good idea, I'll tell him to stop with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, department heads, any discussion?
One thing, next Friday, we're having the Christmas parade starting at West Glocester, going through, lining up at the high school, but a walk through the Santa Claus at Main Street.
What time, chief?
Excuse me?
What time?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
It'll be all on our social media page, so
Thanks.
it'll be in signboard.
All right, boards and commissions? Open forum. I think at this point, we should invite each one of you up here to tell us something positive that you've done during the year. Who wants to go first? Why are you all squirming? All right,
Let him off the.
I'll let you off the hook.
Did you learn anything?
Did you learn anything tonight? Raise your hand. Go ahead.
What'd you learn?
He thought it was a yes, no. So, like, that, we do this every week. Do we do this every week?
That's good.
You do this every week?
Yeah,
We
do
do
it
this
every other week.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
What's your question?
Like, how important are the things that you discuss? How important are they?
Well, for the town, they're very important because at the end of the day, we have to make some pretty important decisions that keep this town running.
Okay.
And very important to that gentleman there, for his business, he wanted to do something, he needed our approval to do it.
Yeah. like to add for open forum that Pontiganson won the Super Bowl. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm just one of the coaches. I am not the head coach. But I do want to say that in 2 weeks on Thursday, we're going to acknowledge the football team. So very happy about that. Yes?
You also won the logo contest.
They did what? They won the logo contest?
Go Chieftains!
Go Chieftains!
I
Yes.
had the same thing a few years ago.
Yes.
And who's the coach?
Okay, okay. I was excited about being the coach. All right, Steve. You got one more after this to do for us.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Nay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
The ayes have it.
The ayes have it.
Good night,
2 to
guys.
1. 3 to 1.
Oh, I know, Steve never said anything, so I don't know. Steve should say something, otherwise it doesn't end.
Oh.